r/AskReddit. Redditors that have found porn of someone they know. How did you react to it? This is a golden photo bomb. It only appears once every 20,000 memes. Like or have bad luck forever. A few jobs back my secretary was this woman. Ellen. I'd guess she was in her mid-20s. Attractive in a girl next door way. She was good at her job. Very quiet. And very religious. Since I never mix money and honey, I never did more than say good morning and when's the board meeting to her. Anyway, her car died, and since her place was on the route I took to and from work, I offered to give her a ride. We didn't talk much on the ride, but I got to know her a bit better. Seemed like a nice kid. After 2 weeks or so her car finally got a new engine, and on the last ride home she said, "I'm going to have a cup of tea, would you like one?" I wanted to thank you for the rides. I thought I should take her up. Walked into her place. A small house way out in the country. And it was clean as a pin. Not a speck of dust. No dishes in the sink. Everything in its place. Including a big old portrait of Jesus over the dining room table. One of those images that makes it appear that the eyes are following you wherever you are in the room. We had a cup of tea and a chat and I left. She quit a couple months later to take a better job elsewhere. Flash forward a couple months, and I'm interviewing a photographer for a contract job. I'm looking through his portfolio and bingo. There's a whole section of Ellen. Nude as the day she was born. In various poses. These were definitely art photos. No porn. But I must admit she had a rockin' bod, very fit and toned. The guy sees me salivating and says former girlfriend of mine from a year or so back. She'd get nude in a heartbeat, and she really liked X. But she was also really religious, and had this portrait of Jesus that was the biggest boner killer I ever saw. I just nodded, and turned the page to the next section. Edit. Holy hell. I go to a meeting, and come back to find this simple tale of debauchery has blown up. Allow me to expand and explain. 1. That's a strange thing for a photographer to say in an interview. My first answer to that is you must not know a lot of photographers. They tend to be an unruly bunch. But, actually, I had known this fellow from other shoots at other firms. It was just his first bid for that company. 2. Don't mix money and honey. Given the current wave of pervnado sweeping across America, I've seen variations of that in the news just about every day. It was actually some of the advice that Dad had given me when I started work. Did I listen? Duck no. One day I'm sitting in a presentation by a design bureau and their new designer walks in. I don't know what happened faster. My jaw hitting the tabletop or my boner hitting the table bottom. Think of a young Jacqueline Bisset with black curls, pale skin, and dark blue eyes. And 18 years later I'm sitting in divorce court giving her a house. No regrets. Got 2 great kids. 3. Did she mean to offer me more than tea? Beats me. At this point I was seeing someone seriously, and while I have my faults, I've never timed the woman in my life. This is the South. Scorned women tend to shoot first. 4. Portfolio PLS. Sorry. Haven't seen that guy in years. Last I heard he was managing a marina in Miami. 5. And now for the really important question. When was the board meeting? Can't remember, but just got back from one if that counts. I found out a friend of a friend did one, but never watched, because I didn't want to change how I felt about him. Also I have no reason to watch gay porn. Edit. I have no reason to watch gay porn equals watching 2 men have sex doesn't turn me on personally. And I'm clearly in the minority of the Reddit world, so I definitely don't speak for all. Learning that while I have a few kinks, I'm a little more vanilla than I thought. Keep on keeping on, ya xed up freaks. Ex-girlfriend and another woman I had a crush on both did some scenes for a local porn company. I was surprised, and I found it really hot. I saved the videos, and I still have them on a hard drive somewhere. Later the ex-girlfriend became a stripper. One day she asked me if I could Photoshop her nudes for advertising and clean them up. She had a little bit of cellulite on her back thighs, and I photoshopped the hell out of them and made them look really nice. I got paid too. I looked her up recently. I know her stripper name, and she is still using the photos I photoshopped for her. My married friends are verified on r/Godchild. I'll let them know I knew by commenting on their post. They were both familiar with my account name because I used it for almost everything. The text messages I received after I commented were priceless. A girl named Zoe from our high school posed for Burning Angel. Someone found out, bought an account, and showed everyone at a party she wasn't there. Maybe a dozen of us in host's bedroom, joking around while flipping through the pictures. I played it cool in the room and laughed it off. But later that night I got my hands on the username and password. TBH, after the party I went home and jerked off to her pics and vids. The fact that I knew her made it so much hotter. At the high school I went to, it was fairly well known. The school resource officers, basically the cops stationed in the school, daughter was a porn star. She was in Cat House, the HBO series, and I really enjoyed watching her segments, to say the least. I met her one time in person, and she was really nice. And unless you knew, you would never be able to tell. Her dad was a really nice guy too. I felt bad for him. There were rumors about how kids would print her picture out from the internet and slip them under his office door. Not cool. For the love of God, provide the video. We live in a society. Your comment is worthless without a link. Found a single nude of a teacher. Said whoa nice, and never looked at it again, nor told anyone about it. Don't want her to lose her job, she's a good teacher. I saw it, got confused, got excited, imagined it was me, noticed her horrible acting, about Lost Wood, watched objectively, came all over myself, moved on never telling anyone, and haven't seen it since. Girl at college ditched her name and became Megan Carx. I felt sorry for her, to be honest. Seems like she crashed her life. Found out my older brother, older by literally 30 years, had a site with his wife/myself on it. He let us borrow a laptop once, and I stumbled upon the pictures. It was a general what from reaction. But at 13 over 14, and as a girl that isn't into other girls, it was just a WTF moment. Like, how are you supposed to react to seeing your sillas and lady bits spread over the screen? I shut that hit down and didn't touch the computer until we got our replacement. I went to HS with Piper Fawn, or whatever spin-off of that name a given site uses. Her FB profile pic was one of her still clothed shots from a set. So it was an easy confirmation when I stumbled across it. It was kind of exciting to be in the know. But the novelty faded. I was friends with her brother. Never brought it up to either of them next time they were both in town for the holidays. A girl I went to middle school with ultimately did some nude shots for her portfolio that are online. They are tasteful, but full exposure. She's been trying to be an actress her whole life. But other than playing a character in a reality TV show on MTV where she's not at all who she really is, and a few roles in movies, written, starring, produced all by one person, aka hit movies with no theatrical release, she hasn't done anything. The funny part is, she lies about her age on IMDb. too. She has her birthday in 1990. But she was born 1985. I suppose she's afraid she's getting too old for Hollywood. I reacted pretty much with a meh. Downloaded the whole set. Almost killed myself by dehydration. I still go back to it regularly. Not really someone I know. More like a YouTuber I watched for a while stumbling across porn of such person. It felt like watching porn for the first time all over again. Like a nervous tingly feeling. Positive experience. Edit for all those asking, it was Equilibrium Masma. I dated an actress who was part of one of those leaks, and a bunch of photos of us having sex were released into the wild. So I guess I can tell you what everybody who found those did. People who didn't know us immediately got on the internet to discuss everything about her body. Everything from how she wasn't as hot as they thought she should be to detailing what they would like to do to her. Some comments about me. Mostly about how they could do things much better, or just general insults about my appearance. Your basic analysis by a bunch of kids on the internet. People who knew her. Most were tactful enough to at least pretend they hadn't immediately gone and checked them out. But there were a lot of averted eyes for a while. She got a lot of supportive messages from people who'd heard, but we were fairly sure those messages were the second thing many of them did, the first being to go look them up. She didn't cope with it very well. Turns out having extremely private photos shown to the world who then proceed to break it down and analyze it like you're some kind of zoo animal is difficult. Comments like she's hot though. She should own it don't help either, and it's shocking how many people said that, or some variation thereof. People who knew me. I got a lot of messages congratulating me, which wasn't exactly welcome. Turns out there's no way to really say hey I looked up a bunch of pictures of you having sex with a hot chick. Well done. Without being weird and inappropriate. Especially supposed friends who had heard about it and just decided to go violate our privacy because everyone else is doing it. So basically a lot of people thought that looking at those photos and then bringing it up to one or both of us was something they should do. They were all wrong. So if you're just looking for stories, well there's mine. If you've actually found porn of a friend yourself and are looking for advice, then mine is to close it down and pretend you never saw it. If you suspect it was placed online without their consent, you might consider letting them know. If you do that, it's going to be awkward. But they'd probably rather know so they can take steps to remove it. Either way, do not tell anybody else about it. I was working in the stock room of a department store. There was this really great looking chick in the clothing department that we all talked about getting her number. Being 19 years old, our game wasn't really top notch, so when my buddy Kev asked her out, of course he got turned down because she isn't single. A few weeks later her boyfriend started working in the stock room with me. He was a cool dude, but to be honest she was still way out of his league. One day I was browsing the internet and I was looking at this site about real girlfriends or something like that. Then there it was. A whole album of this girl posing and having lesbian sex with another girl I have never seen before. I was crazy excited and told my buddy Kev about it right away. There was another set we found of her with a man, but you never see his face. Turns out it was the guy I worked with in the stockroom. I asked him about it and was pretty upset. Apparently he sold them to the site for some extra cash and didn't want me to tell anyone about them. While in college, I went on a date with a future porn star. At the time, she was studying to be a teacher. It was interesting to see. For sure. Especially knowing how excited she was about teaching and whatnot. Update, can't name names. I'm not even sure it'd matter anyway. I doubt her stage name is her real name. And I don't recall what her stage name was. She has red hair and freckles. Not a serious pro. Just has some web presence as I recall. Pronouns not really my thing and I don't know anyone's names. I've been in porn for a while. Like most people. I did my best to hide it and was successful about keeping it under wraps for a couple of years. And slowly people started finding out. A few embarrassing stories of how people find out and react. I have a cousin a couple of years older than me. His wife came over one day. She said, we bought a porn to watch. You're in it. We don't care, but if you could write down all the films you've been in, so this never happens again. That would be great. Someone mailed my parents my hustler. So that's how they found out. I was on Tinder for a hot minute. I got the "you look familiar" quite frequently. I had one guy tell me he reversed image searched my photos. That's creepy. I was featured dancing out of town one time. That's where clubs bring in stars to perform. Another cousin was there for a bachelor party. My first set started. I walked out. And over the music I heard him scream my real name. There's a roll tide somewhere here. 2 of my ex-GFS became pornsters. Second one did it non-commercially for fun. Stumbled on the first one getting railed in the ass on video and had the most complicated spank of my whole life. I still have the video saved on a hard drive. I'm naked on a softcore website. So inevitably some of the people I know will know about it. And have looked. 2 of them who have admitted it to me were both boyfriends of close friends of mine. And they told me they downloaded the photosets for free and looked at them with my girlfriends. I got the feeling they were laughing at me or gasping at my tits, ass, and pussy on display. It rubbed me the wrong way. Made me disappointed that my girlfriends would do that behind my back. And simultaneously confused as to why their boyfriends would tell me to. The only other guy I know who admitted to buying a sub and then wanking to my pictures is now my current boyfriend. He told me after we started dating though. I came a little faster than usual. Watched that porn where a girl was gangbanged by several guys. New scene, and in that one camera angle all I saw was balls, and then the cameraman ran around and I saw the guy I'm sitting every day of us in the office. The following days I must have acted strangely because one day he asked, "Did you find me on the internet?" And all I said was yep. He laughed hard and said, "Well, we all duck and I get paid to duck, so no biggie." And then he offered me a role because he was also director for porns. Background: a close friend of mine dated an abusive man for about a year. She was in a very low place going into the relationship, so she was vulnerable to influence. And boy did he take advantage. Among many other wrongs, including gaslighting, threatening, shaming, and demanding X. He convinced her to allow him to film X tapes of them both. When she finally broke it off with him, packing up and leaving their house the moment she found a new lease, he transitioned into stalking. He began sending threatening texts, emails, voicemails, and posting their X tapes as revenge porn all over the internet. She has a unique name, so the videos were easy to find. A lot has happened in time following. He persistently harassed her for over a year and a half. She moved. He found her. She moved again. Submitted a police report. Police couldn't/wouldn't do anything since he never showed up in person or did anything physical. Changed her phone number and submitted a bunch of takedown requests to the hosting websites. Still, it's on the internet. So years later, some of it continues to resurface. Honestly, every couple months I Google her name and perform takedown requests on her behalf. She's smart and has an incredible work ethic. She's moved past this guy and has a bright career ahead. She doesn't deserve this hit. Edit: due to PMs, I did leave personal details purposely vague to protect against if the thread was seen by any involved. But things like this are heartbreakingly common. Though, there's no good laws on the books to stop attacks on women that rely on non-physical harassment, intimidation, or destroying of one's online image. Authorities are generally unhelpful in my experience. 2. In this case, legal action was pursued, but after a bunch of research, it would have cost more money and time and emotional turmoil than we had to make anything stick. Demons like him just get off without a worry, despite it feeling like no justice was served. The best thing in some cases is to just cut off everything bad and start again. Found out a friend of mine used to be a cam girl. Saw some videos. Honestly, they weren't that great. I mean, she literally gave me the link to her NSFW Tumblr. So I'm not sure if that counts. Some top quality rope stuff on there. A serious lack of links. I started talking to a girl on a dating website, and after a bit of chatting, I commented that I liked her main pic because it looked professionally done. She said she models, and I asked what type. She implied a very specific type of modeling, and they are online, but I'd never be able to find them. Well, I did ultimately find pics and videos on a specific website which is free, but requires registering to see anything. I told her, and she was actually extremely impressed. No, I didn't ask for anything else, because I honestly didn't care that much about it. I just cared more about the challenge. We were supposed to meet up, but she was going to be out of the area for a month. But we planned to meet up when she returned. Unfortunately, I ultimately ruined my chances with her because I was really eager to meeting her in person and talked about all the cool things we should do. She felt I was trying to move things faster than she was comfortable with and ultimately stopped talking to me. Found my aunt and uncle's homemade tape once. I was pretty young, maybe 10. My uncle sat me down to tell me about X and love. Do what you want, man. I just wanna go play. I saw a girl in porn that went to high school with me, but we weren't really friends. On one hand, I felt bad that she chose that path on life, but on the other hand was a bunch of lotion. I went to college with a girl who started glamour modeling, which has slowly gone from tasteful underwear shots to just short of actually putting a peen inside her. Bit weird, but it's never stopped me. I went to high school with Mary. She started as a cam girl, and that was the first real shock, since I hadn't really spoken to her in 4 years. I had found one of her alt social media accounts that she used. So I text a mutual friend of ours AMD, she confirmed it was her. So of course I showed my roommates who also went to high school with us. Eventually the excitement died down, and I figured that was the end of it until like 6 months or so ago she announced on her Facebook page that she was now a porn starlet and was looking for a guy she knew to be security for her. She was willing to cover expenses and whatnot. I would have taken up that offer in a heartbeat, but I had a girlfriend at the time. And of course she had put a link to her videos and I watched them. She was a super sweet girl in high school, and I had actually hung out with her and her group of friends quite a bit before I moved states. I'm just glad she's doing well and is doing something she likes. Edit. According to her Twitter, she was nominated for an AVN award. Never thought I'd be proud of someone for that. Life is weird. Found my girlfriend's college roommate. She was also my roommate's girlfriend for a while. Full on hardcore porn she apparently just did once for some extra cash. She was always ducking annoying though, so I had to watch that hit on mute. My roommate always wondered how he picked up that standard. Not exactly porn, but someone found a lot of pictures of me. Male. Basically I was dating a internet personality for a few years who was into some fun stuff. We took lots of pictures and videos, and for some reason she stored them on her iCloud. One day when we were sleeping, someone somewhere got access to her iCloud and leaked every single thing in the album. Her and me alike. When we woke up she lost it. It honestly helped her career a little by bringing attention to her, however it did have some negative impacts. Me on the other hand, I could care less. I've never been a shy dude and used to post pictures of just myself all the time. But the weirdest thing was, my roommate heard all the commotion and decided to Google it and saw everything. Me and her. He told us he saw them and was very friendly after. She got her parents involved trying to prosecute the person who leaked and everything, so they saw everything as well. Her sister saw. It was a mess. Megan Piper. Honestly it confirmed some suspicions. Mother ducker. I'm on Reddit. I don't ducking know people in real life. Entering college at 18 or so of my friends was a very cute alternative girl. I knew at the time that she was a suicide girl. Mostly arty shots plus some nudes ones, but nothing shocking. A couple years later one of our classmates showed me a bunch of more hardcore videos from when she was 18 and gaming. Some of the stuff was pretty hardcore. I knew the guy had a crush on her and was a bit of creepy stalker, so I gave her a heads up. Turned out she had deleted her videos from the website she was using at the time, but the guy had managed to find some of them. He tried to pressure her with that, but me and a couple other guys' friend made him understand that if he continued he would have to deal with cops or fall badly into the stairs. She was happy I warned her, and we became best buds after that. Never formally dated, but we hooked up a few times over the years when we were going to weddings and both of us were single. Fun things is that when she invited at her wedding next spring, she joked that I would have to bring my own date this time. A mate's sister was in a softcore porn mag's home Gerald's section. Wasn't her real name. She called herself Candy or something. Full frontal nude. Her write-up was a paragraph on loving Nal. It was pretty funny. We did give him a hard time about it. We knew her when we were younger, but she had moved interstate by the time we found the magazine. She was absolutely stunning. Definitely strange seeing her naked, but one of the most massive turn-ons of my life. A girl I went to high school with moved to LA after high school as an aspiring actress. 4 years later a friend shows me this girl's porn website with her completely naked on the front page. One of the prettiest girls in high school appeared in Hustler immediately after graduation. Long before the internet. When that magazine was more relevant. Found a porno of a girl that I went to college with. It was actually very sad. She looks drugged or drunk. She was getting ducked in a car by some guy. Midway through she just gives up and passes out. I found a Simpsons porn parody, if it counts. I had a link sent to me, a video of some girl I went to high school with. Honestly, it was pretty and inspiring. She was cute and all. But the mystery turned out to be better than actually knowing. Yeah, my buddy and I had a friend that moved to California. She was 19 and didn't have really any skills or money when she moved down there. Somehow she survived a year down there without ever getting a job. After a month of her being down there, my buddy and I joked that she must be doing porn to be able to live down there like that. She was attractive enough for the job. However, I was never attracted to her as she somehow always managed to smell like a wet dish rag you use to clean out the back of your fridge. Well, about 6 months after she moved back I found it. I just thought holy hit, as if I found the holy grail. I called my buddy right away. His response, "Oh yeah, I found that a few months ago." What kind of an asshole of a friend, right? Anyway, I kind of skipped through it. Didn't watch it all the way through. It wasn't high quality by any means. Haven't been able to find it since. The holy grail. Tell us please. My blood ran cold. My memories had just been sold. Had a guy that worked for me as an assistant manager in a retail shop. We sold toys to little kids. He was always a ladies' man and all the guys in the shop were a little jealous. One day he starts dating this hot looking girl who just uses XL magnetism. We all drooled over her and she wore stuff so skimpy I finally had to say something BC of the nature of our store. Fast forward a few months and he comes in and starts bragging about a certain video he made with her. Apparently she was into swinging. It's a video of him and her with a couple, and he has a big edited smiley face over his face. But everyone else is not disguised. Honestly, it made me feel sorry for him BC I knew what was in store for him. The company found out BC he was bragging. Canned him. The girl ended up leaving him. And about a month later found out he had gotten something that he had to see a doctor about. Poor schmo ended up wrecking his life for a few years until basically he moved to where no one knew him. Lindsay Pellis was trying to pick her up until she told me her dream was to be in Playboy at 17. Laughed it off BC I didn't think she'd actually make it. She's had a lot of work done. Was shocked when my boy texted me her Supergirl of the Week shot. Also I didn't want to date a girl who wanted everyone to see her naked. Side note, she legit has an amazing personality. Funny, charismatic, witty, everything you'd want in a woman. Just so we are clear, I'm not bashing her. Posting from new act for anonymity. I was best friends with this girl in middle school. She was really cool, super rebellious, and popular. She was also really gorgeous. But she had some serious family issues and stayed in trouble at school. I was a pretty straight-laced, nerdy girl. So we ended up drifting apart in high school. And I lost touch for a few years. First year of college. After not hearing from her for years, she drops by my house. Super excited about 1. New boyfriend. Who is setting her up with clothes, shoes, apartment in pricey part of town. And 2. New boobs, which were a gift, which she proceeds to show me. All of this should have raised about a million red flags. Especially the fact that boyfriend looks to be our age, 18 and 19. And although not impossible, in hindsight, it was highly unlikely that someone so young, with no education, could afford all that. Legally, that was the last time I saw her. In person, I was concerned. But she seemed happy. And, in my young mind, I felt like it was better not to mess with that happiness by raising my concerns. Several months later, my older brother broke the news that he had found her on a porn site. Not a professional porn site, but an amateur site that was super sketchy. I didn't ask why bro was there in the first place. And probably don't even want to know. She looked rough. Her skin was badly broken out. Her hair was thinning. Definitely not the vibrant, free-spirited soul I remembered from middle school. This was the early aughts. And that was the last I ever saw or heard from her. I hope that she turned out okay. I still feel guilty about not intervening. My freshman/sophomore years in high school, we had this asshole of a vice principal. Let's call her Sally. We all thought she was a lesbian because of how she treated the guys. Just openly disrespectful when no one was around. Especially when you were called to her office. Summer break comes up after my sophomore year and a few of my friends and I had all gotten fake IDs. First thing we do is let's go to a strip club. We get into the club. We all get some drinks and get our money ready. The one girl on stage is incredibly gorgeous and is about to take her break, and that's when I see ducking Sally. I immediately hit bricks because she knows me and knows that I'm not old enough to be in there. But I had this little rush of confidence and adrenaline come over me and I said duck it. We are about to have some fun. Sally takes the stage and did an amazing job. Great dancer and an awesome body that I never expected to see under the normal conservative clothes she wore. I confronted her after her little set and she acted like she barely knew me nor that it was a big deal. Honestly, it seemed like she kinda got off on it because she saw me halfway through her routine and her enthusiasm picked up. It was a shame though, because one of the guys couldn't keep his mouth shut. The school found out about it and she later lost her job 3 months away from her tenure. She was a rich before the whole ordeal, but when we knew her secret her attitude changed. All in all, my reaction was me being totally turned on. Most likely because something like that was forbidden territory. I imagined having sex with her in her office after that, but never gathered the courage to pursue it.